All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday, and everyone knows what that means. It is time for Manufacturing E-Commerce Success. I am one of the co-hosts, and boy, do we have a show today. I guess I'm Damon Pasulka, if you didn't know. Sorry, I got so excited. I went right by that part of it, but my friend, brother, right over there, Curt Anderson. Take it away, my friend.
Dude, I don't even know if I can talk with like this crew on stage here. So Damon, we have a special co-host, and I'm glad.
Yeah,
dude, I'm just glad you're here today. That's all I have to say is I'm just glad you're here.
Yes,
I feel very honored and very blessed to have two amazing dear friends. We have a special co-host with us, Nicole Donnelly from DN Digital. Nicole, happy Friday, my friend. How are you?
Happy Friday. It's a wonderful Friday. Friday before Memorial Day. It's going to be awesome. And we get to talk to Ira Bowman today, who is like, I can't wait to pick his brain about SEO and social and all the fun stuff.
We've got a ton of packs. So guys, we have the one, the only. Damon, of course, a repeat offender, probably multiple times, but Ira Bowman from Bowman Digital Media. Ira, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good, man. If you don't recognize the background, everybody, I am not in my digs. I'm not in my studio. I refer to this lovingly now. I don't mean any offense by this, but I refer to myself as a branding and whore, right? Like a Bowman Digital Media logo everywhere all the time, right?
Yeah.
But I'm in a hotel room. I'm in Pensacola, Florida, which is ironic because I have a daughter that goes to PCC. Well, she's home in California watching the kids. So my wife and I are on this work vacation here from Pensacola, Florida. So apologize for the fan coming out of my head and all that stuff. But
it's all good, man. Hey, we got a lot of people in the house already. Holy heck. We got Bob rolling
Bob,
in.
happy Friday.
Bob and I have shared a friend kiss, just so everybody knows. We have kissed each other before. It's been amazing.
All right.
Bob's a good kisser.
Yes. Yeah. My wife was a little jealous, I think, actually. I'm just saying.
We got Deo is here today. We got Christina Harrington is here today. We got, I can't pronounce your first name.
Sam. We're just calling him Sam.
Sam, there we go. Sam's here today.
Sam.
Thanks so much for being here. Well, this is going to be a treat because we're going to be talking about building a dynamic and engaging digital audience. And, you know, our friend Ira here has done a bit of that.
Yeah.
So
a little bit of something.
Let's talk about it. I think you have something like 200,000 plus followers on LinkedIn. You've got 150-ish thousand followers on Instagram. You got, I don't know how many on Twitter, and I'm missing a bunch of places.
The one I'm excited about is my YouTube following. My YouTube following, I cracked 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm working hard on it.
Yeah.
That is, for anybody who knows, that is by far the hardest one to build on. So to get 20,000 people to volunteer to follow me and the goofy shenanigans that we do on video, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Ira, what I'd like to do is I just want to set the stage. It's hard to imagine anybody here, of course, on LinkedIn is not familiar with the one, the only Ira Bowman, but there might be some folks on other platforms that might be like maybe new, you know, you're new to them, vice versa. So I want to go back in time, and then we've got, I know Damon, Nicole, you guys have a slew of questions. We're going to dig into like marketing tactics strategies for today, but I'd love to go back in time a little bit of like LinkedIn, not pre-LinkedIn, Ira, but I met you in June of 2020.
Yeah.
Now, I dropped your TED Talk into the chat box. Guys, I encourage you. I invite you. I implore you. I am begging you. Yes, Bob, Ira.
It was a good kiss, too.
And I am so jealous, Bob. And Val Weber, Val, happy Friday. We're here with Ira. So, Ira, I want to on your TED Talk, you guys, you have to watch it. It is absolutely fantastic. You talk about how your life changed in 2018.
Yeah.
Got rid of a scarcity mindset and really catapulted yourself. I met you June of 2020. I met you the day after a big event happened. Are you comfortable? Can you share what happened in June of 2020?
Yeah.
All of us were going through COVID. What was going on with Ira?
Yeah, I could walk you guys through that story pretty fast, and it'll catch everybody up. So for 20 years, look, I have 8 kids. I didn't start out with 8 kids. I got married back in the year 2000 to my beautiful wife. And we started having babies because I can't keep my hands off her. So it is what it is. I needed to make money, but I didn't have a college degree. I was a senior at San Jose State there in San Jose, California, but I wanted to have a house. I didn't want my family to live in, an apartment or whatever. And no offense to people who do, it just wasn't my aspiration. So I started working, trying to make more money. My wife at the time made a lot more money than I did. I was making $12 an hour, I think, when we got married, just a full disclosure, as a customer rep. Anyhow, I got into sales. And so sales was pretty lucrative for me. And I did that for 2 decades. In 2017, actually, I started to realize that cold calling was getting harder and harder to do in person. But up to that point, I was like really good at it, right? I could walk into an office and just make friends. That's always what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to sell you anything when I met you, just trying to learn a little bit about your business and then figure out where maybe I could help you through the relationship building. So that was how I made my living. In 2017 and really in 2018, I put it in full throttle. I realized that if I could build my presence on LinkedIn, that would help me to meet people electronically, digitally, and start that relationship that I used to do in person. So that was my goal. I wasn't trying to be a media guy, an influencer. I wasn't trying to get famous, none of that stuff, right? Like none of it. The whole point for me was getting past the gatekeeper. For any sales reps out there, they're nodding their head like, oh my God, I know exactly what it means. Like you walk into a place and they like out. You know what I mean? If you can even get in the building, the first thing you hear is get the hell out of here. I mean, they say it nicer than that sometimes, but sometimes they are more crude. Anyways, you get the drift. So in 2018, I met this guy. I'd been connected to him on LinkedIn. I don't know how we got connected. I just, he sent me a friend request and I accepted it. But anyways, Mike O'Connor is the guy that kind of changed my life. And I talk about that in the TEDx talk. But anyways, he challenged me with the idea of how the LinkedIn actually works. And he wasn't just talking to me at that point. He was talking to everybody. But he said at the end of this video that I saw that he had on his profile, and it said, if you're smart, call me. And he had his phone number in his profile. So I'm like, okay, we're connected. I see the phone number. I called him for 2.5 hours. We talked. I was working in San Francisco. I had to drive home to Manteca because that's how rich I was. I couldn't live inside the Bay Area. I had to drive inside to work in the Bay Area. Anyways, that's what it was. So he gave me not the mythology of how to do what I've done, but he gave me the realization that I needed to do what I've done, right? He sparked the idea that I needed it. He didn't necessarily tell me the how. So Mike and I have worked together, pretty closely through the years, building these strategies and techniques up. But through that, I was able to then stop cold calling and make these relationships online. And actually, I was doing pretty well at sales up to 2020. Well, in 2020, as everybody knows, COVID hit hard the United States. In March of 2020, it really hit SoCal, like not as bad as New York, if you just kind of remember the timeline. New York at the time was the major part, but LA started to catch up, which is not a race anybody wanted to win.
Yeah.
But it started to catch up. I got laid off. Okay. So 20 years of doing really good in the print sales space, but now I find myself without a job. I actually was laid off over the phone, which is always the way you want to get laid off, over a phone call. But I happened to be on a weekly call with my friend Joseph Stepke, who's Joe, the finance guy. Joe had asked me a couple months before if I would build him a website because I have some experience in web development. So I always told him, like, man, I can't. I'm still. I had only been at that job for 5 months. I had moved down from the Bay Area, that San Francisco job, down to LA so I could live 20 minutes from work instead of 2.5 hours, right? So anyways, 5 months into a job I thought I was going to retire at because it was the second time I'd worked for that particular company, they laid me off. And so Joe goes, I mean, it's kind of the funniest thing ever, but it's a little insensitive, but it's funny. And when you get to know me, I joke a lot. So anyways, he goes, so you have some time to build my website? And I go, you sucker. Yes, I do. And then we worked out a price and, I built his website out. So, I started my business right away. Now it took a little while for everything to become official and get set up, but that was how I switched over spots. So in June of 2020, I launched Bowman Digital Media. That's the little logo on my shirt here. But what I did, which is interesting, because at the time I had 150,000 followers on LinkedIn. I really didn't have much of a presence anywhere but LinkedIn at that point. Okay. So on LinkedIn, I had 150,000 followers. I think on Facebook, I had 1,500 friends. I had no Twitter. I had no YouTube channel. I didn't have any of this stuff, right? So I put out a post and I said, hey, what would you do, small business owner? I was talking to small business owners at the time. I'm like, what would you do if you had access to 150,000 engaged followers on LinkedIn? Would that be of any interest to you? And I will tell you, my phone rang off the hook, because they're like, yeah, we don't have to build out this apparatus. You can be, they call it influencer marketing now. I didn't know that term at the time. I was just like, I'll make posts on your behalf, right? And I'll get people to see it. We'll build your visibility, and you can, get sales leads that way. Organic sales leads is what we were trying to generate. And we were, we did it pretty well. And so that's how this whole crazy ride got started.
Okay. Couple things I want to unpack is like, you call it again, guys, we're here with Ira Bowman. Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday. Bowman Digital Media, which started was a COVID baby, started in June of 2020.
Yeah.
And again, I dropped Ira. He just did his second TED Talk, but I put his TED Talk in the chat box. Ira, you call it it was your insurance policy.
Yeah.
So for folks, many of us, Nicole, in the digital space, we're like really encouraging, beating the drum to death, like, hey, get on LinkedIn. I'm an employee. You're in the print business and using it. How brilliant. How can I get past the gatekeeper? And then you parlayed your insurance policy into a thriving business.
Yeah. Let me talk about that for just 1 second, because there are people out there that are in sales or marketing or whatever, and they're like, I don't necessarily need it. I have a job. Let me tell you some interesting facts. When you build up your LinkedIn profile when you don't need it, it really is an insurance policy. Yeah. But when you go out there to find the next job, when you're interviewing and everything else is equal, your education is equal, your experience is equal, I promise you they're looking at your LinkedIn profile. I do this as a business owner. If I got 3 candidates that are all pretty much the same, they're willing to work in the same, price, salary, all that stuff is going to be the same. I'm looking at their followings, because that's an audience is an asset. If you have 9,000 active followers, I'm not talking about people you buy. That's a waste of money. I'm talking about people that actually follow you because they're interested in what you're putting out. A company hires you. I was just talking to one of the largest financial institutions in the world, and we were talking about how they can be more successful. And I said, the number one issue I see with your company right now, you guys are putting out posts on your digital platforms and your employees are not engaging with that. That's a mistake. That's absolutely a mistake. Now imagine this. You got employees that have 5,000, 9,000, 25,000, 100,000 followers. How much farther does that message go when they're not hearing it from a cold corporation, but a person they know, like, and trust?
Yes.
So when you are on the unemployment line and you're trying to find your next job, this is something, it's a feather in your cap that you can use to elevate yourself above your competition. Many of you have never thought of that. Right now you're going, dang it, why didn't I think of that? It's okay. I didn't think of that either. That's just something I discovered along the way. So let me share that tip to you. But yeah, insurance policy it's huge. Who you know in life is absolutely as critical as what you know and your experience. Who you know opens doors. I was just talking to a guy on the phone as I was walking around. I'm getting a lot of steps in these days, right? So I was outside in the Florida sun, walking around, getting my 10,000 steps for the day. One of my good buddies called me, goes, hey, Ira, we've got these digital signs and we're selling this space for X amount, for the package. He's offering to let me in wholesale to sell that space. I would not have that opportunity, which is a money-making idea. I would not have that opportunity if I didn't know him really well, but I do. And so he called me and said, hey, I want you to participate in this. You'd be good at it. And, anyways, I wouldn't be on the show if I didn't know Damon. I wouldn't be on the show if I didn't know Curt. You know what I mean? Like, it opens doors for you. I got my TEDx. I can't tell you how many rejections I got for TEDx. I put out the same story, application, rejected. I did my first TEDx talk in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm from Southern California, right? But I got the door open to do my first TEDx because I knew the person who organizes, he's in charge of the event. He put me on the slate because he knew it was a compelling story. He wasn't a fool and goes, you got hundreds of thousands of followers. I want those. Right. So anyways, it opens doors in a lot of ways. It will open up opportunities that you wouldn't hear about otherwise.
Yeah. Well, we got a ton of comments here.
Yeah,
I just want to hit this for a minute.
Your kissing partner dropped a funny comment.
Yeah, you got another follower on YouTube.
Hey,
we got
Chris.
Duvall. We got Diane Byers here today. We got Dr. Libman. Bob talked about Mike O'Connor, someone I know well as well. And we got
Mike, I talked
Muhammad.
about you already, brother. It was all good.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Greg Mischio in here today. We got Ajamuda, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm bad with the
We
names
got
too.
Fola and Bob here. Your network is your net worth. We understand that. Whitney stopped in today. Isaac, and then Whitney drops this bomb. I found my Jew
Hey,
job.
congratulations.
Thank you,
Congrats,
Yeah.
Whitney.
Thanks,
Congratulations
Whitney.
on that.
Glad to hear that. And Bob says, and I am a feather in your cap.
Yes. Because his last name is Feathers.
Fantastic.
Oh, good stuff. Thanks, everyone.
Well, we brought in Nicole. Nicole is our
Yeah.
SEO guru, and she is a Southern Cal girl.
Makes us look
and
good.
just tons of chemistry, tons of chemistry between Ira and Nicole. Nicole, I know you
We're
have
going to become besties real soon.
We
Nicole,
are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so
Oh,
much
yeah,
better.
for sure.
Trust me. So, Nicole, I know you have a lot of great questions around SEO. Let's dig into those for folks to dive into.
Oh, Ira, I am just dying to pick your brain over Google's new search generative SGE, their search generative experience that they just are beta testing right now. I think they just launched it a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to have, I'm like hearing there's like two sides of the fence on how this new integration with the SERP, for those who don't know, the SERP is the search engine experience. It's when you go to Google, you see a little search bar, you type in your keyword, and it's all of those results that come up. And I would love to hear what your thoughts are on how this is going to impact SEO and visibility, especially for small businesses.
There has been a huge change. So there's a lot to like get people up to speed on Google. Okay. So the number one thing you have to understand about Google is a search engine that's trying to help people find the answer or solution to whatever it is that they call it a query. Okay. So that search bar that we talk about, you put whatever you put in there, that Google calls that a query. So the idea is when you put something in, it wants to satisfy the end user's query right away, right? So how does Google decide what it shows first, what it shows second, and all the way down to page 1 million that no one's ever going to get to? In fact, in my latest TEDx talk, I give some stats. 75% of people never make it past page 1. 91% of people never make it past page 2. What does that mean? Let's say you're in the digital marketing space. Where can I go to find a digital marketing company? If Bowman Digital Media or any other company doesn't come up in that first page, 3/4 of the people will never see it. So it's really important. We're talking about huge. How huge? Glad you asked. 7 billion searches happen on Google every single day. That's 81 million searches every second. Okay. So you have a huge opportunity, far more than social media. And some people ask me, Ira, why did you guys switch your concentrated focus from social media over to Google? Well, the simple truth is it's because the volumes are much larger. There are 310 to 320 million active users every month on LinkedIn. And no offense to anybody, but 75% of those folks are outside the United States. So if you have a US-based business that serves only clients in the United States, you have a very small bucket of people that actually you can affect on LinkedIn on a monthly basis. Now, I'm not saying that's not a valuable bucket. That's still very valuable, right? I built my business on it. But looking at the volumes, we switched over to Google. Now, what I started to do, and I didn't have a background in this, so I call myself an algorithm nerd now. But 3 years ago, I would not have told you that. I'd be like, I don't even know what the word algorithm means. If you're like that and you don't know what the word algorithm means, and you want to learn more about this, you can go to my website, bowmandigitalmedia.com. go to the blog. I actually wrote an article on it. So it kind of explains the basics of how algorithms work. But the bottom line is this, it's all done on math. So it's a rules-based system. So what Nicole's asking me is, what's changing inside the algorithm with this new experience? Well, it started back in August of 22. So last August, they came out with a major update. And what changed was really this, Nicole, and you're aware, I'm sure, but I'm going to tell the audience. All right. So they were looking mostly if your website worked properly as a minimum requirement. And there's some things in there we could get into, but we don't have time. But let's just assume those meta tags and site speed and all that stuff is no broken links and all that. That's your baseline. That's all good. Then the main thing they were looking at was how many outside websites are pointing back to your website. We call those backlinks. So you can have internal links, external links. You can have follow links or no follow links. At the time, that's all there was. Now they added 2 more categories to that. They created user-generated content, or UGC, and they created sponsored links, and those are your ads. All right, so now there's 4 types of links. Mm-hmm. That being said, up to August 22, the more links you had, the higher your chance was to be on the front page. But in 2022, because of what I said, remember, Google kind of got lost a little bit, in my opinion, on what they were trying to do. What they're trying to do is answer the question, satisfy the question, or whatever that information people are looking for. So they said, hey, in August 22, we're going to kind of go away. We're going to diverge from what we've been doing, and we're going to emphasize more than backlinks. Now we're going to emphasize content. They started looking at pillar content and blog content, and how many words on that topic are actually not on the site, but on the actual page itself. Because Google doesn't actually send you to a website. They send you to a web page. Now, some of you are like, what's the difference? Here's the difference. Bowman Digital Media is a website, but we got thousands of pages on our website. But Google is not going to say, just go there and look yourself. They're going to actually point you to the exact URL, the exact page that has the information that you're looking for. That's what they're trying to do. So what needed to happen, there was a lot of people that got up in arms because they were getting so much traffic from Google. Like I said, 7 billion with a B people are searching on Google every day, right? So imagine if you're getting 100,000 or 1 million clicks a day from Google, and your life is easy at that point, right? But now all of a sudden that fire hose stops to a trickle because you're no longer on the first page, because they changed the formula that they use to figure out how they rank. And we call that SERP. So it stands for Search Engine Result Page. That's what the P stands for. I like place or position better, but it actually officially stands for page. So where you are on the search page matters because, again, consumer behavior. People are searching on Google. They're not, for the most part, they're not going to page 2. 75% of people are page 1. What happens if they don't find the answer they're looking for? They're more likely to revise their search query than they are to go scroll all the way down and get the next page. See? So now what you're talking about with the new changes that are happening, it's a little bit debatable. In other words, the magic formula is still something that people are beta testing, like trying to figure this out. So we A/B test and stuff. Here's what I think is never going to go away. Because of ChatGPT and Bard and some of this other stuff that's coming out there, which are alternative options for people who have questions, honestly, right? Like Google, if you think about what Google actually does, the main thing it does is it gives you website responses and says, okay, I'm looking for how to groom my hair, right? I need to know how to curl this stuff, right? Straighten it or whatever, right? Like, so how to grow male bottom, how to fix male pattern baldness. I can't even say it, but anyways, something like that. I put that in the search engine. What it's doing is it's saying, okay, Ira, you can go to these places and it'll give you information on that. Well, what ChatGPT or Bard will do is just give you the answer. So if you ask me Google's rank in the importance of the internet moving forward, it's going to take a back seat. So, all this stuff that I tell you is for today, because tomorrow something might change and then you have to adjust your strategy. This is a dynamic strategy that is always being reevaluated and adjusted based on what's happening with Google. But I study it pretty much every day. I'm doing things to test it out and see. You can go to Google Development as well as website. It's a great resource. It's stuff that they put out, and you can read it from a business owner's perspective, or someone who's got a little bit of technical skill, or for the nerds like me who want to fully immerse yourself in 3,000 pages like Google puts out, but they don't put out the secret sauce, right? They give you a lot, everything. In fact, I don't think there's anybody at Google who knows the secret sauce like by themselves. I think it's a bunch of different people that they've siloed for protection because they don't want, Bing or somebody else like that to hire that person away. And now you've got all the keys to the kingdom. So I think that's why they do it. But anyways, there's nobody like me. If they tell you they know everything about everything, you can just find somebody else because their ego is getting in the way. I'm sure there's lots of things that Nicole knows that I don't know, and vice versa. That's just, from our experience. But here's the bottom line. The key to this right now, there's 2 magic bullets. If you have a website and you want to improve your website, what I will tell you is focus on written content. You need to increase the word counts on your pages. You need pillar pages, about 6 per website would be fine, but have at least 4. And you want to designate those. Some plugins will call it cornerstone content, pillar content. It's the same thing, just a different name. So nomenclature sometimes messes you up, but designate your pillar pages. And then the other thing is 80% of folks who use the internet, whether it's on their phone or their desktop, they're going to end up on a video somewhere. So one magic bullet that I try to tell people, and Google doesn't refer to videos as videos. They call it interactive media, which we'll come back to that in a second. You want to have interactive media on every page, but I suggest you also have at least one video on every page. And here's why. If you know that 80% of the people out there are going to end up on a video somewhere, you want them to stop on your page. You want your page to be the place where they park and spend their time. So give them what they want. They want video, give video. Now, with the transition from cookies over to pixels and the way the G4 is reading the data in analytics, you no longer get a hard count just for how many people are visiting the page and staying there. Like if you have 12 tabs open, I only have 2 open right now because I'm on the road, but normally I've got about 25 tabs open, just in full disclosure. In the old days, what would happen is each website would get credit for having an active user for however long you had that tab open, right? But now they don't do that. So now every time you're scrolling, it keeps track of the time, or anytime you're clicking on something that says like read more or expand the thing, or you're scrolling through the album, or you're watching the video, or you're listening to the audio file, the MP3 or the MP4, it gives you credit for active time. And so your Google Analytics active time probably was slashed by like 3/4 and you were freaking out. Don't worry, they're still there doing what they were always doing. Just the way Google tracks it is now a little bit different. All this comes back to answer your question, Nicole. The answers for me right now, the simplistic answer is we're adding pillar content, we're writing blogs, we're updating more information, written information, because a lot of people kind of erred on the other side. They're like, hey, the end user doesn't want to read all this stuff. They just want to look at pictures, watch videos and whatever. And we agreed. We're like, yeah, that's what the consumers want. And Google wasn't penalizing us for not having it. So we were saying keep the pages lean, like 600, 750 words per page. Well, let me give you another interesting stat. I'm a stats guy if you haven't figured this out. All right. In 2022, according to Pew Research, and there are conflicting numbers on this, so take it with a grain of salt, but they say that somewhere around 1,447 words was the average content, written content on any given website that was required to make the first page of Google organic search. Now, I find lots of websites that break that rule, but then you find others that have like 4,000, 10,000 words. And so they're being on average, okay? But here's the thing. If I'm in a fight and I know that's the average, I make that for my clients the minimum threshold that we put on any given page that they want to rank. There are some pages we don't care if it ranks, like the contact page or whatever, right? So sometimes you're not worried about ranking on Google, because here's another thing that most people probably don't know, which is really interesting. There's this thing out there. It's really kind of a fun word to say. It's called link cannibalization. But what link cannibalization is on Google now it's ironic because Google is, by all definitions, a monopoly. Like any definition of monopoly, that is Google. But Google put in an anti-monopoly rule into their algorithm as a safety net, where this is a hard and fast rule. No website will come up more than twice in any one search. So why pillar content is so important, and I can explain what it is if you guys wanted me to go into that. But pillar content is so important because you're telling Google that these are the most important pages on my website, and this is where a person can find the most information on any given topic on my website. So please promote this one. Use this in the two that you're going to pull from me, because you don't want a crappy page with very little information showing up on the first page, because that first impression is the only one you're going to ever have. You want to make it a good one, and you don't want them to leave without the answer they were looking for. They might come over and say, hey, that's a really cool video, but they didn't watch the video, dude. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted the answer to the question. If you answer their question, then they're likely to watch the video. You see what I mean? So anyways, that's where we're going with the changes right now. That's the area that we're focusing on, is the content on the pages. We're trying to make sure like all the H1 tags and H2 tags, the metadata, all of that stuff is really, really good for the whole website, and then making sure the particular content on the pillar pages are top notch.
My goodness. That was a master class.
Yep.
So Ira, I feel like you need to add professor to your list of, like, you're like a Renaissance man. It's amazing. Look, like that was like a master class in SEO, and and that's just that was amazing.
All right. Now, for anybody watching, I do have an SEO organic content creation course that's available. It's 10 video series, and I teach stuff. I'm on video. I share my screen. We go into the heart of all of it. But this is what I am not a PhD, right? I don't have a master's degree. I got my bachelor's degree after 18 and a half years of time, right? So the day I started college to the day I graduated was 18 and a half years. Now, I wasn't in school full time. I'm not. And I did graduate college with a 3.916, so I'm not completely dumb. It just, it was a family thing. But here's the thing that I don't like, because I didn't come from upper crust. I didn't come from, the academia world. Sometimes when you go and talk to people about what they do, or you're trying to learn what they do, they speak in ways that are so over your head, it doesn't help anybody. So I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I just try to put it in a way that most people can hopefully understand, because I want you to take some actionable tips today, some advice today, and improve how you do things. Right. Well, so we can get into how I built my LinkedIn, or how I built my Instagram, or how I'm building up my YouTube. We can talk about any of that stuff that you want. Why I spend all my time on Google. We can talk about any of those things, because I'll tell you from just a base everyday, expression, why I'm doing it and how it can help people, accomplish their goal. You should start with the end goal in mind. The end goal should never change. Now, your strategy that you build out will change over time, because things change, right? Dynamic change. That algorithm shift in 2022, that was a big one. And then they actually came out with what I call a minor one on top of that in December. So they had two pretty significant seismic shifts on Google just in a matter of 4 months.
Yeah. Man, well, there's there's just so many people that are like really with this new AI experience that Google's going to build into the SERP. There's a lot of people that are like, this is doomsday. You're going to lose like 50% of your search traffic because, this.
I actually think it's going to be better. So the people out there that are worried, here's the people that should be worried. Your website is built on fluff. If your website is fluff, like I'm not even joking. If you went to ChatGPT and had ChatGPT write 5 articles and that's all you got on your page, you're in a huge amount of trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
But if your website is built on solid information and you've done a good job, here's what I want to say about this. Okay. Content. There's wide, meaning there's all kinds of different topics in that category. So you want to go wide and hit round the bases of the topic, cover the whole enchilada, baby. Right. Now, also, you want to have the pillars are deep. So then you take each of those sections and now you build them out. And it's not like we're having a one-time event and it's just today and it's got to be ready today. This is the long haul. Think about this as the marathon of your business. Your pillar content, you should be contributing to that every single month.
Absolutely.
Never stops. Right. So because things change, you update it. Think of it like a press release, a news article that comes out. And so, when it first came out, we had little bit of information. And then as time goes on and we learn more things and the journalists are able to interview and more facts and figures come up, they add that to the story. You see that all the time. Same thing with your content on your website. If you have a website page that you built in 2021 and you haven't touched it since 2021, I hate to tell you this, but Google's probably parked that sucker, right?
Mhm.
And if it's really bad, they'll actually delist you, that's like your death nail of your business. If Google delists your business from the search engine, you have to create a new site with a new URL.
Yeah.
They don't revive, as far as I know, they don't ever revive them. Like once it's delisted, it's delisted. So then you have to start over.
I love this because I think as small businesses, it's really important for you to get clear on the top topics that you want to be known for and just go really deep on those in order for you to really be able to get yourself in the AI, get yourself to the top rather than trying to like just rank for a bunch of different topics and not have more broad content.
Yeah, we could talk about that in a second. There's a couple comments I want you to share, Damon, if you would. Kyle Harbaugh, that's exactly what I'm hoping people will do. That is 100% why I'm here today. Duvall, 100%.
Yeah.
And people ask me, what's the frequency rate? What do we need to update? Okay, here's the deal. Pillar content, up to 6 pages on your website. You want to be updating those every single month, not a 30-day window. You may or may not know this, guys, but Google comes and indexes your website a minimum of 4 days, a maximum of 30 days. So there's this 26-day window every month where they're going to come at least one time and index your site. What does that mean, Professor? What it means is this. They're going to come. They have AI bots. We call them Google bots. They come and they crawl your site like spiders. They're looking for everything. Now you have a schema and you have a robotics. I won't get into that for sake of time, but so there's some help that we provide to Google to help make their Google bots job easier because we want them to know what's on our site so that they can rank us for it, right? But the bottom line is, if your pillar content is not being updated every month when they index it again, now you're starting to go, okay, this is not current. We want them to know it's current. One of the things, Nicole, that is new is Google is pushing new content over old content. So again, everything else being equal, you have an article from this month, you have an article from 3 months ago. Google doesn't care about domain authority and number of backlinks like it used to. So the site that has a Moz ranking of an 8 can outrank a site that has a Moz ranking of a 91. I've seen it with my own eyes because I studied this stuff, right? So the first time I saw that, I almost fell out of my chair because I didn't believe it. I thought it was a mistake. I'm like, I went to the website and I dug in. I'm like, there's got to be more here. No, they just have better information on that topic than the 91 site, right? And for those of you who don't know what DA is, it just stands for domain authority. Google doesn't actually have a domain authority like Moz and SEMrush do. However, those are still good tools to kind of understand, get it. It's like a quick barometer on how you're doing compared to your competition. But anyways, for updating your site, pillars content every month. So if you got 6 pages that need to be updated every month. You can break that down however you need to. Your blogs need to be updated too. Not as often, but they need to be updated. I recommend at least every 6 months on the blogs. So
every page, every blog page,
every blog. If you want, okay, Damon, I know this hurts. I know this hurts. But listen, the ones that you want to rank are the ones you update. Okay. If you have old blogs that you're like, you know what, I really don't need this to rank anymore, just make sure you go and update those so they point to your pillar content. Really, every page that you add, every new page on your website should point to one of those 6 pillar pages. Everything funnels to your pillar, not your homepage, unless your homepage is also a pillar, which it can be, but it doesn't have to be. Every pillar page, every other page that you add, every single blog that you write, every new product or service page that you put out, every page should point back to a pillar. And then when you're putting out blogs or content or press releases out into the world that are going to be hosted on other sites, you also point those to your pillar pages. Everything points to pillar. So think of pillar as your foundation pages. Those are the ones that you care about the most.
All right, Ira. All right. First off, let's just take a time out right here, Damon. Right? Was like, all right, bam, mind blown, right? Like this wasn't even like mic drop. This was like mind blown moment. So I don't know if we caught all the comments, but Christina's saying, ooh, I'm getting a lot of actionable steps with Kyle again.
That's my goal.
Guys, thank you. ball. It looks like your routine job is to update content. Hey, your kissing partner had to sneak out, so
Yeah, Bob had to leave.
That's fine.
and
I'll kiss him.
let's and I'm just saying that out of jealousy, Ira.
My wife just said nice, so there you go.
Yeah.
She's over there, just full disclosure.
So let's all right. How we need to define the schema for pages? Is it still in the rules? Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. So okay, I wasn't going to touch schema because it is a tech. This is probably one of the most technical things that we're going to talk about today. So I'm just going to lay it out like this. Imagine your family tree, the diagram, and that's what the schema really is. It's kind of a roadmap for Google, every page where it goes and how it all fits together. Yes, you have to have it. If you don't have it, you get dinged for not having it. Remember when I was talking about earlier, everything's in working order as a minimum threshold? Believe me, schema is the first thing on that list. Like, if you don't have a schema, drop everything, call me, and we'll create it for you, because you're not going to be able to do it yourself probably. Right. You need somebody who knows what they're doing to do it. But yes, you absolutely have to have it.
So, Ira, on that note, I dropped your website you mentioned your blog a while back. And so I dropped your blog into the comments. So again, guys, if you're just joining us, if you came in after the hour, Ira Bowman Digital Media, this is just a pure masterclass.
Yes.
Invite you. If you caught this later, go back.
Let me help you guys too. If you go to Bowman Digital Media /SEO, or actually, I'm sorry, it's search engine optimization, I think, but maybe somebody can grab that for us and put it in the comments.
I'll drop it.
Here's why I want to say that. So Deanne was asking, where can I find the master class, it's on that page. You can buy the course there. But I'm a free guy. I love giving away things for free. Okay. The bottom half of that page is pillar content. You know what that means, guys? Everything I'm telling you and a lot more is on that page, and you can read it for free. I'll teach you for free SEO just on my page. Because I want that to come up on Google.
Hey, we've got a lot of questions coming in. Man,
we do.
This is the chat box. Guys, keep them coming.
Yep,
hey, Greg, happy Friday. Our dear friend Greg Mishu in Madison, Wisconsin. Could you talk a little bit about search intent?
Yeah.
Dropping that link in the chat box.
Search intent is relatively new. I love it. I'm not worried about it at all. I don't think that you have to change your strategy as a content creator if you're doing what we've been talking about on the show, right? If you're still building backlinks. Look, I want to throw out a warning here as a PSA for everybody and save you some money. You're not going to waste money, okay? You're going to get bombarded by emails. They're usually from somebody offshore. And it's going to say something to the effect of, we'll build backlinks and help you rank #1 on Google for $99 a month or $199 a month. Let me just tell you that all of those are basically based on the old formula. And they did used to work. Yes, they did. I'm not trying to say that people are doing things that don't work. They just don't work anymore. So save your money. Let me tell you that where it's at anymore is content creation. Now, to Greg's question and Nicole's question, why search intent is a thing is a direct response to ChatGPT. That's why they created it. That's why they implemented it. No one at Google told me that. I just figured it out on my own because I can read the tea leaves. I'm really good at that part of it. I'm really good at strategy. When you look at Ira Bowman, that at the core, the thing that I'm best at is like playing chess. Okay, so strategy is my thing. So why did Google put this out? It put it out because if you understand what Google is doing, Google is giving you. This is pre-search intent, but what they're doing is just giving you the results of websites, web pages specifically, where you could go and get the information yourself, like self-serve. But it wasn't giving you the direct answer. What was it doing? Right? It was promoting these other sites and then selling advertising and things like that, and their other products. So that was the mousetrap, was to bring you in, make you fall in love with Google. You're getting your business from Google, so you're going to advertise with Google, and you're going to do all the, buy all their suite of Google Suite products, right? Gmail and all this stuff for your business. Search intent, I believe, is a direct response to ChatGPT, because what does ChatGPT do? Instead of telling you where to go to get the information, it gives you the information. Now I'm going to throw out another PSA. If you haven't heard of the term hallucination, you really need to you need to stop using GPT until you understand what hallucination is, because I met a guy Southern California, about 4 months ago, told me the scariest thing I had ever heard in business. He said, I fired all my content creators and all my customer service reps, and we do everything through ChatGPT now. And I said,
wow.
okay, but who's supervising?
Right.
Yeah.
What oversight is there for this information? He goes, I don't have any. It just goes out. And I said, okay, so you obviously don't understand a couple of very important things about ChatGPT. First of all, if you go to openai.com, which is ChatGPT's creator, it's not Microsoft. Everybody thinks it's Microsoft. No, Microsoft bought into the project because they saw how cool it was. But OpenAI, the creators, did not create it to be your author. That's not what they created it for. The language program, they're developing this thing over time. A language model is what they call it. But what they're doing is they're giving you the information directly. Now, here's the part where you need to understand hallucination. Hallucination is it's making stuff up.
Yeah.
You think because you're using it on the internet that the database that it's drawing from is also drawing from current information, and it is not. It has a set database, and that set database was drawn and capped September 2021.
21.
So what's happened in the world since September 2021?
Yeah, a couple things.
Not much.
It does not have any access to that. Now, this is one of the advantages of Bard. If you want to understand why I like Bard over ChatGPT, this is one of the main reasons. Bard is Google's direct competitor to ChatGPT. So learn the word Bard, use Bard. I recommend it better, but it still hallucinates. They both hallucinate. What is hallucination? Hallucination is when it doesn't have the data, but it uses logic-based, it uses its artificial intelligence to create, manufacture, make up, and now what's scary is this. This is what's scary. How much content has gone out created by ChatGPT over the last year online? It would knock your socks off if you knew how much content is out there now written by artificial intelligence. And those aren't the only two, by the way. There's all kinds that but anyways.
Jasper.
Now, Jasper, my company uses Jasper as a tool. Now we have oversight for it, but we use it.
Bing chat.
All kinds of stuff. But here's the thing. So now that data that's out there is being put out by companies that are supposed to be credible on that topic.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens when they're doing their data research and they're finding now live blogs that are written from credible sources, they're adding that content into their database. Now it's drawing experience from hallucinated or made up foundations. What happens when you build a structure on crumbling sand, y'all? It's your business. It's your responsibility to make sure that data is accurate, not the source, the tool that you're using. That's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility. You are the expert, right? So
amen.
Use the tool, but understand the limitations of the tool and the risks that are associated with using the tool. Oh my gosh. I was, like I said, it was the scariest thing I'd ever heard in running Bowman Digital Media, because he's talking about all communications for his company, not just what's on his website, but what they're responding to clients and emails, all of it.
That just makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little.
Now, let me tell you, you don't have to take my word for it. Go to openai.com. Just read what they write about hallucination on their own website. I'm not slandering them in any way. I'm doing a public service announcement because most people don't read. That's the problem, right? The humans, why do I want videos on your websites? I want videos because that's what people are going to consume. Google is going to consume your written content to know what to recommend you for, but the people, for the most part, are going to watch. They're going to look at the graphic and they're going to watch the video.
Technology. It's a wonderful servant, but a terrible master, right?
So search intent is designed to help you figure out what it's supposed to do. Just answer the question directly. What it's supposed to do is help understand what you're really looking for. You might have phrased it improperly or whatever. And it's saying people also searched for, and now there's this new section on the site. And the Google AI, the reason why it doesn't bother me, and I think it's actually going to be helpful for everybody who's writing real content, not fluff, but substance, because again, what it's trying to do is not compete with Bing, not compete with Yahoo. They're still around, believe it or not compete with DuckDuckGo. Let me give you an interesting fact in my second TED Talk that hasn't released yet. if you look at how many people use for search engines across the globe, right? Search engines. I'm not talking about databases on other sites. I'm talking about actual search engines that's their business search engine. Okay. Google gets 92 to 94% of desktop search. They get 96% or so of mobile. The other competitor, the closest competitor, remember I said they're the biggest monopoly ever? This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Bing is their number one competitor in the search engine space. They get just over 1% of the daily search volume. 1%. If you take Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo, which are the next three, and add them up, it's less than 5% of the overall search volume. They are not worried at Google about Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo. I promise you, not at all. But they are worried about ChatGPT and other programs like that. So they, in my opinion, again, I don't work inside Google. I don't have any insider information here. But from a logic-based standpoint, from a businessman's perspective and trying to figure out these puzzles, what I'm thinking is they're positioning themselves in a way to compete better with language programs, these other systems that are coming, because we haven't even seen the cool stuff yet.
Yeah.
There's much more coming out. In fact, things like indexing video content and stuff like that that's coming. It doesn't exist yet, but that stuff will come, and that will change the game on Google a lot too. Because once a lot of people don't know about SEO, search engine optimization, and how it works. They think if they put out 100 videos on a topic and they've got it covered from soup to nuts, that they're good, and they're not, because Google doesn't recognize what's inside any of those videos. It only knows what you have in the meta descriptions, the wrapper that goes around the video. That's all they're indexing. So if you right now want another strategy for content, go and take Otter AI or something like it, transcribe your videos, and then add those as blogs on that same page. Now you've got all that content that Google can index. But one day soon, YouTube is going to Google is going to actually index video content, and that will change the game dramatically.
Yes, because the people that have been making good videos all along that didn't know how to, necessarily how to put the meta stuff together right. If they can start tagging the videos, they're going to find the good content.
Look, if you're looking for help, right? If you're looking for help and you have content creators and they do a good job, but some of this technical stuff is where you're weak, source it. Don't try and figure it out yourself, because I promise you, this is a full-time job. Just understanding and keeping up with Google is a full-time job. But that help can be the difference from being on page 7 and being on page 1. Just doing some simple tweaks to your standard operating procedure with how you're loading your content on your site can make all the difference.
Amen.
Boom.
I'm like on the screen now. I like your SEO expertise and acumen, and you and I have worked on several projects together, and and I think many people probably perceive you as the social guy, LinkedIn influencer. And what I love what you've just done and what you've described is you just really, this was a masterclass on how to learn, how to grow, how to make yourself more competitive. Were you an SEO expert 3 years ago?
No, I didn't even know what SEO was. Honestly, this is what I've been studying for the last few years.
Right.
Because I needed to. Now, my first SEO lesson started with Project Help You Grow in 2018. Because if those of you who aren't familiar with Project Help You Grow, just look it up. I don't have time to explain it, but I launched a philanthropy in 2018 to help people find jobs. It's one of the ways that I built my LinkedIn visibility, right? I was helping people where they were in need in finding a job. I'm really good at that. I created a website with the help of some friends, but then I needed it to rank on Google, and I didn't have any money to spend on advertising. So I started researching SEO a little bit back then, but I really got knuckles deep into it in 2021 because you can take a business so far with social media, but you really can't take it to the top of the mountain without Google. You need Google's help. So I was like, what can I do? Not for my clients. This was not something that was really all I concerned about for my clients. It was more for my own business. How can I increase my own visibility and gain traction on Google for Bowman Digital Media? So that's where I started reading, taking courses, attending seminars, and all this stuff. Like I love to learn anyways, if you haven't figured that out. But
It's clear. It's
yeah.
very clear.
Yeah.
Man.
Good stuff.
Well, once
Good
again,
stuff.
man, we're lots of love in the chat box here.
Yep.
And
Thanks,
you know,
everybody. I
people are
appreciate it.
thanking you guys. So again, guys, we're gonna start winding down. So Nicole, parting thoughts, kind of recap what was.
Oh man, I think the things for people to take away for folks that are kind of just getting started or wondering where they should focus now that there's so much disruption happening with AI is I love what Ira says about make sure your website has pillar content. Make sure you've got that pillar content, that 4 to 6 pillars. Make sure you're updating it regularly so that you're staying top of mind. So that's what really stands out to me, like for people who are just kind of getting started, is just really to focus on that time.
I'll even
if you need help, you know where to go. Go to Ira.
I'll give you guys a hint too. We didn't talk about this, but when you talk about volume of content, how much volume should actually be writing? I recommend you do at least 4,000 words every month. At least 4,000 words every month. Now, most of my websites we're doing 6,000 or more, but as a minimum threshold, you should be aiming at 4,000 words.
That's really helpful.
Great.
And I love how you've just it's very specific advice that you've given everyone today. It's not just this high level fluff. And I think that's really important.
I want to give people things they can do. Like, you have a task list now. Watch this video from scratch and you get
yeah, exactly. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
good
again,
stuff.
as we wrap up, I just want to give, I just want to pull up some of these comments again. Christina, thank you for spending time with us today. Happy Friday. Hope you and your family have a wonderful Memorial Day. And Ira, you're getting love from Angela. Angela, thank you for joining us. What a rock star she is. Thank you.
I actually built out her website for her. So
did you
check out thurmanco.com. It's a wonderful site.
Yeah. So, hey, go right back there to Angela. Here's her comment again. Great actionable advice. Duvall, just a lot of great tips here. So, Damon, dude, was this like we had high expectations when Ira's on stage, but man, you just completely blew it away. We have your TED Talk, guys. Over the weekend, you're out for a walk with a dog or just enjoying the weather. Pop on Ira's.
Go back
TED
and listen
Talk.
to this.
It is absolutely fantastic.
Start from the beginning.
Go back and listen to this discussion. This was just a true masterclass. Ira, parting thoughts? Any words of wisdom that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, this is the thing. SEO is never done. Just remember what I said about the volumes on Google. It takes, this stat blew my mind when I did the research. 1 month of Google's traffic is the equivalent of 58 years of traffic on LinkedIn. Why did I switch from LinkedIn over to Google as my primary focus? It's because of the volume. There's so many more eyeballs on Google every single second of the day than there is on LinkedIn. And most of the stuff on LinkedIn, again, it's not in your geo fence. So, even that doesn't take into it, that disparity is not. So just understand this about SEO. It's not a one-time deal. Like I get some people, they'll come to me, they're like, hey, we got $20,000 that we want to invest in SEO. Like they're thinking like, okay, fix our SEO. And we'll be done. And I'm like, no, what I want you to do is cut that up into a monthly budget. And we're going to do a little bit every month. Sorry, there's a vacuum right outside my door, but we're going to do this every month. Whether you're paying somebody to do it or you're doing it yourself, or probably what's the best is to have a little of both, right? Yep. You got some internal people working and some external sourced labor helping you out, but never stop. Because the algorithm changes every month. And also, like I said, they're pushing relevant content, new content first. So all things being equal, you need to keep, every time you update one of those blogs or you update that pillar content, it considers that new content. Mm-hmm. So you've just refreshed the created date, if you will.
Yeah. Man, okay. Whitney Houston, happy Memorial Day weekend to you. Thanks for joining us. We got Kathleen, holy cannoli, man. I like that. Might be a line. That's outstanding. Casey again drops a line here. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wind down. We have Ira's TED Talk in the chat. We have Ira's don't need to look far to find Ira's LinkedIn profile. We have his blog. We have his SEO tips, as he just mentioned. He has a course. Connect with Ira if you want to take your SEO to the next level. He has all sorts of powerful tips, tools, and as you can tell, he's just one amazing, incredible dude. How about a big round of applause, you guys?
Thanks, everybody. Look, I really appreciate being here. I love helping. I hope this was helpful. Take the advice and run with it, because if you don't apply the things I've told you, then it's not going to help you. But if you apply what I just told you, it'll make a huge difference in your visitor traffic.
Well, hey, and Ira, you share your story, your family, your 8 kids, and we just want to extend our love, our prayers to you, your family, good health, and just safe travels, you and your wife, as you're on the East Coast, getting back to the West Coast at some point in time. But thank you for sharing your time, your passion, your expertise. We love you. We appreciate you. And this was just far beyond our expectations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Damon, take it away, dude.
Thanks, Curt. I'm just taking it back a little bit here, but I'll try to summarize. Nicole, thanks for being here. I mean, your questions and interaction with Ira got this thing going to a level that, Curt and I, we just aren't going to go there. We got to go there. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I want to thank Ira for being here. Obviously, man, just love your sharing, your giving attitude, and just turning out good practical advice for people.
Yes.
And the people listening, go to bowmandigitalmedia.com if you haven't already. Check it out. You can get in touch with him there. You can do whatever, and just look at some of the content and see he practices what he talks about. That's one thing you're going to see there. And then finally, I want to thank all the listeners today. I mean, man, Curt and I, and we just are so blessed to have listeners coming back and listen to these two goofy old dudes that started this like 3 years ago. We're like, man, we want to talk about things that'll help business people. And it's just been such a ball, and it continues to be a ball. And having people like Ira and Nicole here today just shows, and all the people in the audience and the comments and stuff just really inspires me. And I know it does Curt to do better and do more of this. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks to those that were listening, although you didn't put comments in, and thank those people for putting the comments in. And we are out. Have a wonderful holiday weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.